What's going on, guys? It's Tom. I'm back with another video. Listen, on this video I wanted to talk about, if you're living here in the Philippines, what your monthly expenses are going to be, right? I actually got a comment. I did a posting recently just kind of asking you guys what kind of information you'd be interested in as far as the Philippines goes. And I had a gentleman make a comment, and he was asking for, about monthly expenses. So I thought, hey, that's a good idea. And, not including rent, okay, just all the other stuff, utilities, food, water, restaurants, and stuff like that. So I made some notes, and let's get started. Now, I'm going to start off with electric, right? The electric bill. Now, it's not going to be the same, obviously, for all of you guys, or it's not going to be the same everywhere. And it's not even going to be the same depending on what time of year it is. Like right now, it is Africa hot out there in the Philippines, man. It's like 95 degrees every day, Fahrenheit. It's sunny, hot, humid, 60 to 70% humidity, okay? This is summer in the Philippines. March, April, May, maybe even into June, but definitely those 3 months. This is summer. So don't let anyone tell you different. Like some guys live up in the mountains and they say, oh, it rains, this month and that month and all that. Well, I'm on Luzon, okay? And, it doesn't rain much in the summertime, okay? It's just very hot. So anyway, as a result of it being hot, your electric bill, you're going to be using the aircon more. You're going to be using fans, more, during the day, maybe fans, and then you'll have aircon at night or whatever. So it's going to vary, but it's going to be higher in that summer months. So I'm just going to give you I'm going to try and give you like an average, okay? Like our highest, I'm in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's about a little over 80 square meters condo, which is about 800 square feet, okay? And, we don't use the aircon during the day, but we use the fans, of course. There's 2 or 3 fans going all the time, during the day when we're home. At night, we'll have a fan, plus we'll have a split con in the living room going for maybe 3 or 4 hours before we go to bed. And then while we sleep, at least in the master bedroom, we have the aircon on. It's a wall unit. We have it on like all night, while we're sleeping. And our highest bill was about 6,500 pesos, or about $120 approximately, okay? More of an average, or, is probably more like under $100, more like maybe $90 a month, okay? And for a while there, when we've been here almost 2 years now, but in the first year, it seems like it was like 65, 70 bucks a month, for several months, outside of like summer, the summer months. So, there's obviously a range, you could say, 3,500 to 6,500. So if you want to split the difference, however you want to think about that, that's pesos. Or, $70 to like $120. So let's just say 90. Let's just say in a place like this, you may have a smaller place. You might have a 2-bed, 1-bath, 50 square meters or something like that. And it's going to be less for you. But, for us, in this size place, we have an N unit also. So, sometimes it's good for breezes. We get pretty good breezes coming in, 2 balconies, But anyway, that's what it is. You figure it's about $90 a month on average. Now, the water is very cheap here. I mean, just the regular service water, like for showering and for the sink and stuff like that. We pay like about, plus for the common electric, which is like the laundry area and stuff like that, and the common water, we pay about basically what, $20 a month That's what we pay in a condo for water. Now, our drinking water is free, but if you have to pay for the drinking water, it's also pretty cheap. I mean, you're going to be looking at like probably, you know, I don't know, 20 pesos or something like that for a 5 gallon jug of water, you know, for drinking water, filtered water, if we paid for it. That's what it would be here. You know what I mean? If we used up our free ones and then we had to pay for a few, it would be like around 20 pesos for a 5 gallon jug. Okay? So 20 pesos is like 40 cents, you know? 40, 50 cents, right? Pretty cheap. And the internet, let's just talk about the internet. Again, it depends on who you have, and if you have just internet, or if you have if you happen to have Sky like we do, they have cable TV and internet. Okay, and that's what we have now. So we're paying like, what is it, about 2,500 pesos a month, okay, or about $45 USD a month for internet and cable. But if you just had internet, you're probably looking at $30 a month, 1,500 pesos, 1,700 pesos a month, unless you get some super high speed, or something like that, then you might be paying 2,500, just for the internet. But it's a lot cheaper than the US, Is it as good? Well, no. It's not quite as fast. It goes out more, sometimes it knocks offline just briefly and then comes back. Sometimes it's down for a day, or something like that, right? Where they have to do some maintenance. So, it's going to be not as good as the US in general, but it's pretty good. You know what I mean? Especially in Manila area. And it's quite a bit, like I said, quite a bit cheaper, Now, in regards to like cars and motorcycles and stuff like that, I don't have one yet. I probably never have a motorbike. I may eventually get a car, If you're going to get a new car here, they're not any cheaper than the US. I'll tell you that right now, So if you want to buy a new car here, I hope you got some money in the bank and stuff. You're because it's going to be like, 20,000, you could buy a little tiny little car. The cheapest car you can get is going to be maybe $12,000 or something like that USD. But, most of the other cars are going to be pushing 20 grand USD, 25 USD. It's really not much cheaper at all than the US. And it's kind of limited, Toyota, Hyundai, Kia, Nissan, that's what you're going to get here, the Japanese and Korean models, obviously you can have an American car here, but it's going to be very expensive and you're going to have to ship it here. And, it's not going to be very practical, to do that. Motorcycles, I mean, if you just get a regular 150 cc or whatever, I think you're looking at maybe $2,000 to $3,000. And if you get like more of a small bike, like the little small bikes that they have here, it might be less than that. Could be half that. Could be like $1,500, $1,000. But now you can rent bikes here, and generally they're pretty cheap. I mean, you're looking at like maybe $300 a month or less, for a long term, like daily. You can rent them daily maybe for 500 pesos a month. I mean a day rather, which is like $10, $9, $10. But if you rent by the month, you might get a little bit better deal than that. It might be $200 US or something, for a whole month to month. So, depending on what you want to do here, you could, it depends on how long you think you're going to want a bike. If you definitely are a good motorbike rider and you can handle yourself good on a bike, and it hasn't been like 40 years since the last time you rode a bike, a motorcycle, then yeah, go ahead and buy one. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's probably gonna be like 2 or 3 grand, U.S. I will tell you this: the gasoline currently is around, and I'm gonna tell you what it is in dollars. It's about $4.50 to maybe $5 a gallon maximum, right? Diesel's a little bit less than that. Diesel might be about maybe $4.25 a gallon for diesel gas. But regular gas, like I said, a little bit more, maybe 4.50 to $5 a gallon. So I don't know what it is in the U.S. now, but I'm sure it's not more than that probably. So, you're probably going to find that it's a little bit more for gasoline here, than it is in the U.S., for example. All right. Now meals out, right? If you're gonna go eat out, and it depends. I mean, if you're gonna eat, you know, Western food, like you're gonna go to a steak place or something like that, you're gonna spend some money. It's not gonna be very cheap. If you're buying really good, sort of high end, Western food, but if you're just going out to the local restaurant franchises, and whether they're like just like Jollibee or whatever, or a little more varied of a menu like Gilligan's or places like that. I like Greenwich too, which is like pizza, but they also have chicken and some other things, and they got some pretty good pizza there actually, and chicken. We just had it today actually. So if you're eating at the regular Filipino restaurants, I'll just tell you what we often do, like delivery, right? Like Food Panda, they just deliver the food here, and it's coming from pretty close because we're close to malls. So it's not like it's like a 5 minute drive or whatever on a bike for these guys, so it's not like a big, 15-20 minute ride for them. But usually we're looking at, with 4 people, we can get a good meal for, definitely like less than 1,500 pesos, you know. I think today it was 1,700, but that's more than we usually spend, and that's just, we got a few extras, and we didn't have a voucher, which a lot of times if you order delivery with Food Panda, there's vouchers, 100 peso off, 300 pesos off, sometimes 500 pesos off, as long as you, order like 1,000 pesos or 9.99, worth of food, you can get these really good vouchers. Not all the time, but they do have them. So, our average is more closer to like 1,200 pesos when we order food out like that. And so you're looking at like $24, right? So I would say anywhere from like $24 to $30, and that's for 4 people, And we often have leftovers also, from that. And now you could go to like Blake's, which has like steaks and ribs and stuff like that, and it's obviously a lot more. You're going to spend it's not going to be as good as a real high-end steak place like in Chicago or something like where I'm from, but it'll be pretty good, for here, and it'll be fairly it won't be cheap. It'll be cheaper than the US, but it won't be cheap for here, you know what I mean? For what you're used to spending here at like normal sort of local Filipino restaurants and Filipino food. Now in the grocery store, and I think this will be in closing here, this is probably the last item that I'm going to talk about. Now there is expenses with your visa. Just figure, if you're on a tourist visa, all right, then just figure it's going to be about $500 a year, okay, or $50 a month, right? 40, because you got to include that you might need transportation to go to the Bureau of Immigration to renew your visa, even if you do it every 6 months instead of like every 2 months. There's probably going to be transportation involved. So just figure it's going to be like $50 a month, I'll just throw that in. Um, I don't know if there's really anything else that I want to add to this, but now food at the grocery store, it's not. I mean, compared to the West, it's a little cheaper, but for meat, not much cheaper at all. It might be a little bit more expensive, and especially if you go like us, right? Like we'll often go to Landers, which is like a Costco, or S&R, which is also like either a Costco or a Sam's Club, right? And we buy the meat there usually, right? Because we're buying meat for four people. When we go out and buy, groceries, it's for four people. And Amy cooks like 4 to 5 times a week, you know. So we stock up at like Landers and S&R or S&R, right? And I'm just gonna tell you that the meat is not cheap, you know. Um, you're gonna spend like $10, for a package of meat, or something like that, right? Maybe more than $10. You could buy meat at the local grocery stores, like chicken is probably not a bad thing to buy there, They don't have a lot of beef. There's pork and chicken and fish. So, and depending on what it is, it could be pretty cheap, especially compared to the U.S. Now, I will tell you this. You could go to the market and buy meat, okay? But if you do, I would just go, I mean, if you got a girlfriend or wife, Filipina, just have her go into the market. And whether you're nearby waiting for her, that's fine or whatever, and that's up to you. Or whether you just have her go on her own, whatever, depending on how much stuff she's going to buy. But just have her go there because if you go with her, if you're with her in the market, there's often no prices marked on the meat or the fish or whatever. So when they see you, they see a Westerner, they're going to jack up the price a little bit most of the time. Okay, maybe not all the time, but a lot of the time, they're going to jack it up, 10, 20 pesos more, or whatever per kilogram, you know. So just keep that in mind. Also, the markets are, not for the faint of heart. You know what I mean? Like, there's meat hanging all over the place. There's flies flying around the meat. It smells not the greatest. There's the floor's wet. And it's just kind of like, it's not what you're used to. In a Western grocery store, where everything's packaged up nice, and you know what I mean. Like, it's pretty raw. You know. So just keep that in mind. I mean, like I said, yeah, are things going to be cheaper there? Yeah. Cheaper than even the grocery stores, Yeah. I would say it's a pretty good place to buy fruit and vegetables, definitely, at the market. But meat, I don't know. It's up to you. Personally, we don't. We just buy mostly the meat at S&R and Landers. Once in a while, at the grocery store, we'll get some chicken or whatever. And they do have sales sometimes in the grocery stores. You could get like chicken breast, for maybe $3 a kilogram, which is 2 pounds. That's if it's on sale. A lot of times it's $5 per kilogram. For chicken or whatever. Okay. So that's about it. As far as the fast food is pretty reasonable here, like McDonald's and Burger King and all that, and they have like Big Macs and Whoppers and stuff. But what I've noticed is that they are cheaper compared to like the prices at a Western Burger King or McDonald's, but they're a little smaller. It's almost like shrinkflation. I don't know if you ever heard of that, right? During the pandemic and even just after the pandemic, they were talking about the inflation was very high and they were charging the same price sometimes, but then it was for smaller units of the same, juices or food or whatever you're buying at the grocery store in the West I'm talking about. You know, like you'd buy normally a 64-ounce bottle of pineapple juice or something, and then they were selling 48-ounce bottles instead of 64-ounce bottles for the same price. You know, and it was just part of the whole inflation thing of what was going on, you know. Uh, and that's what you'll find here. A lot of times I notice with the Big Macs and the Whoppers and all that, they're a little smaller, you know. But they are, you know, they're cheaper, you know. And they're good, too. They taste good. They taste just like, to me, I mean, the ones I've eaten here, they taste just like the regular Western ones, you know. Uh, so, anyway, but that's about it, guys. I think I covered most of it. If there's anything I miss, let me know. And I'll, you know, send me a comment. If there's anything else that, like a monthly expense that you think maybe I missed or whatever, that doesn't include rent, let me know. And I appreciate you guys watching. And I would appreciate, too, if you could like, comment, and subscribe on my videos if you enjoy them. And again, I really do appreciate you guys for watching and commenting. So I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.